Hello and welcome to CATEX-TV. I'm Tom Bain in London. It's 4:30 PM in London, 11:30 Eastern Time and 12:30 in Bermuda. Today in history. Today in 55 BC saw the first Roman invasion under the command of the then General Julius Caesar. And today in 1883 saw the eruption and ultimate destruction, after a series of ever-increasing eruptions, of the Indonesian island of Krakatoa. The effect of these eruptions was the death of 36,000 people, and it affected the global climate for decades after the event. That was in 1883. And now to the news. Veteran US Senator Edward Kennedy, the brother of former President John F. Kennedy, has died at the age of 77 after a long battle with a brain tumor. He became a Democratic Massachusetts senator in 1962, replacing his brother when he resigned to become president, and he was re-elected 7 times. Senator Kennedy was a dominant force in US politics for almost 50 years. President Barack Obama, of whom he was an active supporter, said he was heartbroken to hear of his death. He said the senator's demise ended an important chapter in US political life. Senator Kennedy has championed issues like education and healthcare, central to Mr. Obama's first term. In 2006, Time magazine named him as one of America's 10 best senators, saying that he had amassed a titanic record of legislation affecting the lives of virtually every man, woman and child in the country. The Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid said the Kennedy family and the Senate had together lost our patriarch. He said the Liberal lion's mighty roar may now fall silent, but his dream shall never die. The Kennedy family announced his death in a brief statement in the early hours of today. The statement said, "Edward M. Kennedy, the husband, father, grandfather, brother and uncle we love so deeply, died late Tuesday night at home in Hyannisport, Massachusetts. We've lost the irreplaceable centre of our family and the joyous light in our lives, but the inspiration of his faith, optimism and perseverance will live on in our hearts forever." Edward Kennedy was the only one of 4 brothers to die a natural death. His brother Joseph was killed in an air crash in World War II, and both President John F. Kennedy and presidential hopeful Robert F. Kennedy were assassinated in the 1960s. He was widely expected to be the next Kennedy in the White House, but he was never able to fully overcome the scandal caused in 1969 when he drove a car off a bridge at Chappaquiddick near his home, killing his female passenger. The incident helped derail his only presidential bid more than a decade later, but he remained active in politics right up to his death, famously endorsing Barack Obama for the Democratic nomination during a tight race with Hillary Clinton last year. At his death, he was the 3rd longest serving senator in US history. Last week he asked the Massachusetts governor to change state law to allow a speedy succession when his Senate seat became vacant. Analysts suggest that Senator Kennedy feared a lengthy gap could deny Democrats a crucial vote on Mr. Obama's flagship health reform. His death comes weeks after that of his oldest sister, Eunice Kennedy Shriver, on the 11th of August this year. A French security advisor seized by Islamist militants in Somalia has escaped his captors, according to officials. The Frenchman, who was kidnapped from a hotel in Mogadishu along with a colleague last month, reportedly killed 3 militants as he made his escape. Nothing is known of the fate of the second hostage, who is being held by a different rebel faction. The pair were part of a team training government forces who were battling the rebels for control of the country. A spokesman for the interim government said the man who escaped was in the presidential palace and in a good mood. Government military official Farhan Asano said the man unexpectedly came up to government soldiers early on Wednesday, identified himself and said he has escaped. Mr. Asano said the man told them he was one of the French officials held by the militants. He said he escaped after killing 3 of his captors, and we sent him to the presidential palace. According to reports, the 2 French captives were being held by different factions. While the fighters from Hizbul Islam group were holding the man who's now escaped, their allies from Al-Shabaab are thought to hold the other man. The 2 groups control much of southern Somalia, but analysts say Al-Shabaab is known for being the more radical of the 2 groups. Al-Shabaab fighters care little for their public image, and they have carried out killings on camera. Both groups are said to have links to Al-Qaeda and have been reinforced by foreign fighters. Somalia has not had a functioning central government since 1991. Moderate Islamist Sheikh Sharif Sheikh Ahmad was sworn in as president in January after UN brokered peace talks. He promised to introduce Sharia law, but hardliners accuse him of being a Western stooge. Exhausted firefighters say they have managed to contain wildfires which had been bearing down on Athens and threatened ancient Greek landmarks after a round-the-clock rescue effort. After a weekend of devastation which saw hundreds of residents evacuated from their homes in the suburbs and fears that the capital would be engulfed, respite finally came when the heavy winds died down. A fire service spokesman said that while the fire crews would remain on standby in case the fires flared up again, the situation had been brought back under control everywhere apart from around Porto Germano to the west of the capital. Yanis Kapakis, a fire service spokesman, said the situation has improved. There is no more significant active fronts in the Athens region. Earlier, over 500 firefighters, including a Cypriot contingent, had battled blazes east of the capital, fighting to save communities of Dao Panteli and Nea Maraki, and attempting to prevent the fire from moving northwards. Water bombers, including planes from Italy and France, have also been helping douse the flames. The fires have threatened some of Greece's most important archaeological sites, including the ancient Athenian fortress of Rhamnus, and an area near Marathon, the site of one of history's most famous battlegrounds. Fire crews managed to save the Pantokrator monastery, which was founded in the mid-14th century, from being burnt down after the nuns occupying it refused to evacuate. The blaze has also brought havoc to some of the country's tourist retreats, including the Ionian resort island of Zante and Skiros, an island in the Aegean. Spiros Zagaris, the mayor of Marathon, was among several local helpers who have accused the government of having no plan to fight the fire. But Yanis Papathanassou, the finance minister, said it was not the time for criticism. He said, "We are fighting a difficult fight." The handling of the fire, the biggest in Greece since a 10-day inferno in 2007 killed 65 people, will be crucial for the government of Kostas Karamanlis, the Prime Minister, as it gears up for an election by March. Many in Greece are upset with the government's response to the situation that has become familiar to many Greeks, with residents in some affected areas saying firefighters and equipment were nowhere to be seen. Now, storm activity is showing no signs of abating. While the remnants of Hurricane Bill have been battering the UK, there are no depressions, storms or hurricanes on the Atlantic at the moment. But the Pacific is experiencing a heightened storm season, partly due to the El Nino event which is going on there. At the moment, Typhoon Vamco is in the western Pacific, heading northwards, and storms Hilda and Ignacio are strengthening in the eastern Pacific. We'll keep you updated on the development of those specific storms and anything that should break in the Atlantic. A Bermuda-based major captive insurance manager in International Advisory Services, or AIS Limited, is about to be sold to Marsh, according to reports surfacing yesterday. The website of the captive review seized upon rumours of the sale swirling around the island's insurance sector. Various newspapers have been unsuccessful in trying to reach IAS President David Ezekiel or the head of Marsh Insurance Management, Jill Husbands, for comment. According to the Royal Gazette, the review quoted Mr. Ezekiel saying that he could neither confirm nor deny reports of the IAS sale, but confirmed that other captive managers would like to buy up IAS's book of business. According to its website, IAS manages 188 captives, which have combined written premiums worth $4.8 billion and $25 billion in assets under management. IAS has 180 employees at its various operations, which include its headquarters in Church Street, Hamilton, as well as units in Barbados, Ireland and Vermont. The review quoted a source familiar with the firm's plans as saying that IAS was soliciting bids. Another Bermuda manager has also told a trade publication that he has heard IAS has possibly been sold. The word on the street is that the firm has been sold to Marsh. Ms. Husband said she